Let's go across now to the former Army Chief, General Malik. Thank you, sir, very much for being with us. General Malik, you would have heard about the various reports on the casualty count, Indian soldiers killed in action. We've inflicted casualties on the Chinese side as well. What are your thoughts on this, on what are being seen as the most serious incidents in 45 years?
Yes, it's a distressing news that we got today, and I must convey my prayers for the boys who got killed in action, and also condolences to their family. This incident has reminded me of the Nathula incident, which took place in September 1967, and I was a major at that time, handling this in the Military Operations Directorate. The fact is that yes, diplomatic level as well as at the military level, more at the military level, the talks have been going on for some time now with the Chinese, but the tension on the ground where troops are facing eyeball to eyeball is much more, or has been much more, and it will probably now be have increased. Also the anger on both sides, definitely from our side I can make out, because the commanding officer has been killed along with two other his colleagues. It's a clear violation of the situation of the LAC. Till now, we have not had any incident of this nature in Galwan Valley. Apparently, the Chinese PLA does not want us to extend our road going from the main road going towards Darbuk to DBO into Galwan Valley, which would have permitted us to carry out patrolling and have lines of communication right up to the line of actual control. So they have created this, and it came as a bit of a shock while we thought that the talks were going on and this whole situation will be de-escalated. The news that we also came across that there will be disengagement, but instead of disengagement, it has now resulted into this. The other thing I must tell you, Vishnu, that the army has army level talks have their limitations. As far as the army is concerned, for them, the given line of actual control is the final line which they have to protect, which they have to secure. And they cannot change anything. As far as they are concerned, they have to fight for that, whether negotiations take place or, sometimes conflicts take place. So there is a limitation as far as the army engagements are concerned. And this apparently now cannot be resolved at the army level. It has to be taken up at the diplomatic or as well a political level, because the other thing I must say here, I would not permit our troops to get into a scuffle situation. These are the kind of things that have been taken place for last so many days. And I remember it was a scuffle which took place at Nathula, which ended up not only firing at each other, killing each other's boys, but also an artillery duel for 4 days long. So I would not like the scuffle kind of a situation to take place anymore. If there has got to be any more military to military level talks, then they must take place formally with white flags up and with proper protection.
So,
and that is
General Malik,
we can talk to.
General Malik, a point which a lot of people are finding fairly difficult to understand. How is it that no shots were fired in an incident where we've lost at least 3 of our Indian soldiers and have inflicted serious injuries on the other side? Soldiers wear helmets, they wear body armor in many cases. How could there have been this significant loss of lives if shots were not fired?
Look, the point is that even the stones can kill the men who are there. And there are reports of the other side carrying some sticks which are armed with nails or barbed wire, etc. Now, whether you are carrying weapons or you are not carrying weapons, the fact is that 3 people have been killed.
Right.
And at the moment, we have to go by the statement of the army that there was no firing, but the stone pelting has been responsible for killing of these people.
So, General, my next point over here is, in a situation like this, what exactly should the Indian Army be doing in that particular area? Not talking about the other areas, but in that particular area, I think it's fair to assume that there'd be a build-up on both sides, right?
Yeah, that is true. The build-up is already there, and the build-up will remain. Now, I think it is at the political level that people have to decide whether you want to keep it localized or you want to escalate it. I don't think people would want to escalate it, but at the local level, the army has a very limited role now except to take up position and make sure that, again, people don't come into contact with each other, and let the diplomats and the political level people talk to each other. The army will have to stand firm wherever they are at the moment.
Sir, at a time like this, when information is so important, particularly when we've had soldiers killed in action, do you believe that we are making mistakes? Other than that one army statement, in all of these hours, there's not been a single message from the External Affairs Ministry, no message from the political leadership, no further message as yet from the Indian Army, while the Chinese mouthpieces have been broadcasting news, sending their messages. Military spokespersons on their Western command have been coming out with messages as well, and their foreign ministry has spoken as well. So there is a certain narrative which is going out. We are obviously looking for the truth. But after all of these hours, did you not expect our establishments to actually say more?
Vishnu, I tend to agree with you. We seem to be losing out as far as information war is concerned. And I wish there were some statements being made. As you know, the Chinese have been making statements at different levels, both at the foreign minister's level as well as at the military level of their Western Command, which is controlling Tibet. And I hope that soon there will be some statements being made, but maybe people are still waiting for the political authority to make up their mind. Let me also mention to you that today's situations are quite different. There is a real-time information available today to the political authorities, both the Ministry of External Affairs as well as the PMO. Unlike the earlier days when the information passed from one commander to the other commander, today real-time information is available, and therefore we have to react fast, both on the ground as well as information war is concerned, or whatever you like to call it. And therefore, to be having these kind of delays, I think it doesn't do any good to our case.
It's also a matter of concern that the Chinese seem to have reinforced their positions, because in just the last little while, there is a statement which has come from the China's Western Command, where their military spokesperson has actually issued a statement, and that statement is very damaging to our interests, where they have basically said, and I'll say this: China always owned sovereignty over the Galwan Valley region, and the Indian border defense troops are inconsistent with their words, etc., etc. But this is reinforcing a particular position which we were trying to evidently de-escalate. So doesn't this therefore indicate a significant setback in terms of the overall effort in the last few weeks?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it that whatever talks were taking place at the military level so far, and I think once or twice the Joint Secretary level also spoke to each other, apparently everything gets neutralized today. If they say that no, this whole area belongs to them, as per the statement from the spokesperson of Chinese Western Command is concerned. Right. So it worsens the situation, I would say. And therefore, once again, I would say that it is now going out of the military level situation there, except for the fact that the military has to stand firm. Yeah. But I think now the time has come at the diplomatic level and political level to handle it.
All right. Sir, thank you very much, General Malik, for speaking to us. Thanks very much indeed.